With the meta more fully stabilized as patches continue to slow down, I wanted to take some time to rank the best weapons of the game before I get to a longer video going over literally everything else, and it'll actually give me some time to order these weapons. With that being said, there's 3 key attributes that are very important to understanding the metagame right now: chip damage, fast kill times, and survivability. Chip damage is very easy to land sources of damage that are high enough to work off of teammates easily, such as Burst Bomb's 35 damage hitbox. Many good weapons are going to have these in their toolkits to work with each other. Second off, fast kill times. These are usually one-shots like charger shots or really quick kill times like 52 gals. People move very fast, fight very often, and can cool or quick super jump around to get out of situations more easily. So being able to secure a pick instantly is very useful. Finally is survivability. In order to deal with the first 2 things really ramping up kill power in this game, anything that's able to slow them down, such as Tenebrel's shield, are super helpful. With the basics out of the way, be sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get started with this list. At number 10 is Neosplash. This is the only weapon on the list that straight up does not have anything I talked about earlier. This weapon is purely carried by being the best painting weapon, not in the meta, not in the game, but in the entire series. High uptime, easy bomb use, great gear freedom to enhance that, and tri-strikes, which not only have the best paint output, but are quick to use and allow you to instantly start cycling your next one. This especially synergizes well with other more selfish weapons, including some I'll get into later, but can still hold on its own with almost any good comp. It's really just held back and fallen off more than before due to its lack of synergy and ease of being rushed down, which happens more often with other faster weapons in the meta. Definitely a lot lower than where it was with a pre-nerf squeezer it could pair with that kept all the fights off it, but still has such insane strengths that have to be played around. Speaking of having strengths that have to be played around, coming in at number 9 is Roller. I think that this has always been a very underrated pick that still holds a lot of value in this meta. While not being the best weapon with chip damage and having a noticeable paint weakness, just existing in a comp really forces others to play around the sharking and reliable one-shot kill threat the weapon provides. It also comes with Big Bubbler, which is one of the best specials in the game, allowing for regroups or safety in normally unsafe positions, being particularly useful to stall out Crab, and having amazing synergy with Roller that is great at keeping anything out of its bubble. This pairs very well with other high paint output options or other selfish weapons that can set it up for sharks and fast one-shots that'll often force the enemy team to switch up their game plan just to counterpick it, which is a great advantage to have. And number 8 is Squeezer. Despite getting hit with the hardest nerfs in 9.0, including a small Zuka one, it survived pretty well. It might not be the most broken main weapon in the game anymore, but it's still one of the best. Its range, even after a nerf, is still higher than all but one midline option, but has more consistent damage than that weapon, with one bullet still having enough damage to work off of most options, but again, much further away. While this still makes it not great at working off of others, it at least also has wall, giving it added survivability and making it the best fighting weapon at controlling open space. The Zuka, while low in output, is still good too. This weapon could cover range for stuff like edit comps or pair well with End Splash and Roller, while even working with some standard comps. At the end of the day, it's still a laser beam weapon totally worth the investment that really only suffers from not working with others as well as future weapons on this list, and having horrible paint. At number 7 is Mint Decapitator. This weapon has been slowly rising up the ranks for some time now, but it seems to have hit the upper limit. This weapon is an interesting hybrid between Roller and Stamper, having good damage, a reliable one-shot, and interesting mid-range combos, but it's nowhere near as strong up close as Roller, and not as good at a distance of Stamper. However, the added flexibility can make it worth it. Its kit is extremely good at playing more passively, paired with the weapon's better paint output than most midlines, and its damage is so high that it works better with other options that normally can't work with things, such as Splash's 28 damage. It can still struggle a little bit with long range, but it has more than enough options to work around it, with its dash slash being especially notable as something you really have to watch out for and keep in mind at all times when fighting it. At number 6, the Splash-O-Matic. The hardest weapon to rank in this list, because out of the roles we have for this game, it is absolutely the best support weapon in the game. By like a good bit. In fact, I'd say there's a bit of a gap of the weapons we covered previously and these top 6. So you could argue that it could go much higher in this list. But the reason I put it here is I think there just isn't as much competition for support as the other 2 roles. That being said, Splash is in a very good spot. This is mostly made by its vanilla kit. It's the best Crab support by a mile, and Crab is one of the best specials in the game. Very good at taking down other HP specials, adding onto your own survivability, and having a lot of flexibility and reliable entry. At the same time, you also have a a Burst Bomb. 30 damage from Crab, 35 damage from Burst equals you have a lot of supportive tools to help out with teammates. It's no surprise that this has become the centerpiece and working in a meta centered around other chip damage heavy weapons. There's not really any inherent flaws that I could talk about other than the main weapon's 28 damage not being great at working with others. There are definitely other better main weapons in the support category, but in terms of the main plus the kit, nothing comes remotely close. Number 5 is Slosher. This is a surprisingly low placement for Slosher, even though it's the top 5. Most people are aware of the strengths of this weapon since it's been relatively unchanged for a while. Very powerful AoE weapon with a hitbox that's very flexible to adapting to the right situations, and powerful 70 damage shots working with most options, as well as a really good Splat Bomb combo with it. It also comes with a strong special with Tri-Strike, but this is actually more of a weakness here. Yes, the special is still very good, which makes it useful in a lot of situations, but compared to the other midline fighting weapons in the top 10, this is the only one that doesn't have a special useful for combat, limiting its use compared to all of the other options on this list. That being said, it's still Tri-Strike, melts HP specials, caps zones, controls a ridiculous amount of space, is fast to use. Not that big a downside. The other problem Bucket's been having lately is dealing with comps full of one-shots. Since even with how fast 2 shots from the weapon is and its ability to work with other options, sometimes you are going to fight other comps that are going to have ways to kill you a little bit faster. None of this is to keep Slosher from even remotely being anything other than a top 5 weapon, but it's the reason it's moved just slightly down in comparison to before. At number 4, taking over as the new best AoE weapon in my eyes is the S-Blast 91, and this is very close. I think in terms of main weapons, Slosher still definitely has an edge over S-Blast. However, the 91 has one of the best kits for it possible. Burst Bomb and Booyah Bomb. Burst Bomb is currently the best sub right now for all the chip damage stuff that I just mentioned, but it also works particularly well with S-Blast. It gives it more consistent long-range poke as well as damage combos to work off of. S-Blast has gotten faster with a larger radius than before, and S-Blast as a main has improved drastically. I actually gave it its own video before, so you can check that out if you want to see its progress over the last year. So instead, I mostly want to talk about Booyah Bomb, because the more we've had with the special, the more I think it really is that good. Yes, sometimes it still can get punished, but that 5% radius increase equals a lot larger size than you might think, and its flexibility between being able to be used as a painting option like Strike, as well as an HP special like Crab, gives it unparalleled flexibility that gives the weapon insane playmaking power. It's great to finally see this weapon's full potential. And number 3 on the list is Pencil, another weapon I don't have too much to talk about. While its cooler output has been slowly toned back, the main weapon is still insane. The 68 damage it does works with most other options, and now that burst bombs are more popular, it even has a combo with most bombs, where it didn't have that with other lethal bombs. The pain output is great for other weapons to work off of, and it is the most reliable and consistent cooler option in the game. However, with all the other HP specials to give regroups and Crab to hang back as a temporary anchor, it does have a little bit more issues overlapping than it did before. Sometimes you don't need Pencil to be in the position it's in, and having a weapon that could be a bit more aggressive or faster could work. That said, Pencil players have gotten better at being more aggressive and adapting to this meta, proving it's still one of the strongest options, though not the best cooler weapon anymore in my eyes. That title belongs to number 2, the Heavy Edit Splatling. Edit's been underrated for a long time, as it has great pain output, amazing mobility, and is incredibly self-sufficient at fighting for itself. Its main weakness has been its charge time, adding a bit of downside, but that's largely been offset by its insane ink efficiency, meaning you basically never have to refill your ink tank. However, it could struggle dealing with ranged opponents, but this meta has given it a lot of answers. All these HP specials are much better for Edit to deal with than Pencil, which has a low object damage, while at the same time it doesn't have the same overlap problems as Pen. If there's a bubble or a Crab to give jumps to, Edit is more than okay being aggressive when it calls for it, and these weapon stats are really good. Remember that Edit borrows a lot of its data from Mini, another one of the strongest main weapons in the game, and so it has a lot to work off of. I'd also say its pain is a little bit more consistent at painting over stuff like Strike and Booyah Bomb. The mobility and flexibility against HP specials gives it a lot better of a time time working with the common meta weapons, as well as the fact that it's more consistent at defending itself when things get bad, which is especially good when paired with options like S-Blast that do have to hit the one-shot direct at close range, which is a bit of a problem when it's paired with Pen. However, as good as heavy-headed spotling is, it's not number one. That title goes to Splatoon Stamper. This was what people predicted when 9.0 came out, and it is finally here. This chip damage focus meta is perfect for Stamper. It is a Slayer with a burst bomb, damage numbers to work off of, and caster, which is great against HP specials, as well as can be used as a recall to jump to, giving it similar sustain to other HP specials. The difference being that this is now one of the best specials in the game instead of one of the worst. Stamper has a massive range advantage with both the charge slash and horizontal slash over other options, and its only real major downside is the fact that it is incredibly difficult to pull off due to having so many different things you need to be able to use, as well as by far the hardest special in the game. However, when all that effort is put in, you have a weapon that can handle almost every situation, work exceptionally well with other meta options, and synergizes better with this meta than it ever has with any of them in the past. And frankly, I can think of no better weapon to be at the top of the game than that. And that's my top 10 list. I'll talk more about this meta when I get to my tier list video breaking it all down, but I'll say right off the bat that I really like this set of top tiers and how the meta plays out. It's a good mix between fighting weapons while still requiring a lot of coordination and having very powerful kits. Let me know what you guys think of this ranking in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.